that's how to really get this into the market. So the second thing, before we talk about that, I want to mention, I said that blockchain reduced the cost of network. So there's this concept called network effect that's really important to understand. And that's the idea that the more people that use the system, the bigger the network gets, the more valuable the network is, right? So there's a positive effect by having an additional user. Think of a social media site. Think of Facebook. The more people that use Facebook, the more valuable Facebook becomes. So how do we get that network effect? Well, traditionally, it's been a very expensive proposition. It's sort of a chicken and egg problem. You have to be big to become big, right? You have to spend tons of money to create that network effect and hope that it works in order to make lots of money. The value of the network goes up when people join it, but how do we get people to join a network? Traditionally, it's really through a lot of marketing expense. But with our decentralized business model and with blockchain, the network effect, we can create economic incentives where the community is incentivized, usually through the receipt of tokens, for promoting the network itself. So it can go viral just for the people on a network, the early adopters. And the earlier you get in, here's 3 good examples. The earlier you get in, the more valuable your tokens are going to be if you can enhance their value by promoting them. So you have built-in evangelists in the system. That's a good example of token economics in building out the network, getting that network effect, and reducing the cost of networking, especially when you're paying for the network effect with tokens. Here's a good example of what we mean by that. The people who get in to the network over here in the early size, when the network's small, the value is low, you get in early, you get in at a low value, and as the size grows, you'll see over time the value grows as well. And this is not just blockchain, this is anything, you know, Hotmail, Gmail, anything. That's just the way it goes. The more people you have on the system, the more value grows. So blockchain incentivized protocol creators. So, and by the way, for the non-software people like me, what we mean by protocol here is a standard language that lets people on the internet work together on a specific problem. Think of it that way. So historically, it's been kind of difficult to create new protocols and get people to use them. But blockchain tokens are a great incentive for protocol creation, because if the protocol is successful, the token goes up in value. So the creators have a real incentive to promote their own protocol and keep some for themselves, but not too much, because if they do get too greedy and keep too much, as we've seen happen over and over again, people will just fork the code, as we talked about in one of our sessions, and start the same network all over again. That's the problem within a legal system, such as blockchain. Let's go back to my chart that I showed you a little while ago. Remember what we said about how the ownership, there's an upside potential. You get in early and you end up having a chart that looks like the blue line here. So the value is very low and it goes up as the network grows. Well, the flip side of that is that the potential is very high at the front end. The potential goes down as the size of the network grows. So the dApps are incentivized to join the application very early because when it's less populated, you have much more opportunity. And at some point, those 2 lines will cross and those incentives will offset each other. All right, so what does that mean to have a decentralized protocol as opposed to a centralized company? How is that different, and how is that beneficial and valuable? So businesses that are built based on our network effect, they're going to start to be built decentralized first because of the cost of network is so much lower. And a decentralized business model, we don't need a central operator, a central network operator. So here's a good example. Think about Uber without the need for Uber, right? That controls the network and charges a fee for that. Think about Reddit without the need for Reddit as a company that centrally hosts and creates the platform. Or Facebook without a central Facebook, right? And that is the network effect of a decentralized first business. They'll start with the community controlling and verifying and creating that big network. It's a lot like the businesses that were built internet first in the late 1990s, if you remember the .com craze, or the mobile first in the late 2000s. Those companies had relatively equal access to capital, access to investment. And you may recall that first it was the Internet of Money, and then it was the Internet of Assets. So what we're going to see is network effect companies I think will embrace this decentralized first model just because of the lower cost. So a lot of people are expecting fairly massive growth, just like the growth of apps in the App Store, and that means massive failures as well. We saw a lot of that in 2018 as the ICO market bottomed out.